Hey good people, and welcome back to the channel. It's a wonderful Thursday, and in a few moments, I'll be sharing my thoughts and feelings on episode 4 of Hell's Kitchen Battle of the Ages. And just like with my previous reviews, this review will contain an episode breakdown, followed by my overall rating, and I'll cap things off with sharing my predictions for the future episodes. So without any further delay, let's jump right in. Episode 4 picks up right after last week's elimination. Billy is hype and annoying for no reason, but the new members of the blue team seem happy with the new change, whereas the newly formed red team is already showing signs of weakness and a lack of trust amongst their new members. From the interaction between the new red team members, it seems like the younger chefs have little to no respect for the older chefs, and to the older chefs' credit, they admit that it's been years since they've worked as line cooks. However, they should have known that coming on a show like this, that they were going to have to work as line cooks at least once in every episode. So there's no sympathy for me on that issue. For the first team challenge, the chefs have to jump into a pool filled with plastic balls, and the balls have names of ingredients written on them. Once they pick up the ball, they have to match the ball with one of 4 racks. The different racks represent one of 4 sliders, which for this challenge would be chicken, beef, lamb, and salmon. And the team who fills all of their racks the fastest not only wins the first part of the challenge, but they get an additional 5 minutes of prep time for the second part of the challenge, as the teams have to pair off in groups of 2 to make the various sliders. The women win this challenge by 3 seconds, but the problem is that they did not strategize on which ingredients they would use to make the sliders, and this comes back to bite them. The guys were far better in picking their ingredients, and it pays off as they win the slider cook-off challenge against the women. The challenge was close, but Summer decided to allow Nicole to give Gordon her beef slider to taste, and this was despite Nicole having a pretty bad luck streak on the show. Because the blue team won, the men get to go to Palm Springs for the day, but the women are punished by having to wash, peel, and cut potatoes for dinner service. And as someone who's had to cut their fair share of potatoes in life, I must say that the red team has my sympathy. Now while the blue team is at Palm Springs, we see that they are gelling pretty well, whereas the red team continues to pull further apart. Now this transfers over to dinner service. The blue team has some hiccups early on, with Brett serving raw beef sliders to Gordon, but they finish pretty strong, despite Vlad getting lost in La La Land for a little bit. The red team started off at the bottom pretty early, and they never got their momentum. Gordon gave the red team several chances to correct themselves, but Gordon ultimately asked the blue team to bail them out. I gotta say that this is the most efficient blue team that I've seen early on in the season. But Gordon absolutely hates this red team, and he asked them to nominate 3 people up for elimination. The ladies ultimately nominate Alyssa, Nicole, and Mindy, and as many of you might have predicted, Nicole got the boot from the show. Now while I agree that Nicole should have been voted off, I think that Summer should have been in the bottom instead of Mindy. Summer doesn't seem to have the emotional maturity needed to be on a show like this, and her alliance with Daphne, as well as some of the other women, will only carry her so far. But overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, I will give this episode a 7. The episode was somewhat predictable, as I and other fans of the show knew exactly what would happen when the red and blue team reverted back to men versus women. But I still enjoyed watching it. Sadly, the red team has at least 3 other chefs that need to get eliminated before they can really start to fly. But in terms of my predictions, my picks for chefs that stand a good chance of getting a black jacket have slightly changed from last week, while my picks for the chefs that are locks to get eliminated also slightly changed. But this marks the end of my review. To those of you who've seen the episode, what did you think about it? What are your thoughts on the new red versus blue teams? Which chefs do you want to see in the finale? Feel free to leave your comments below in the comment section, and I'll be sure to reply to everybody. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.